All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Crown Council live stream. I'm Stuart Anderson. We got a great show for you today. I'm grateful that you've joined us or you're watching this recorded. This is our weekly program where we connect with the Crown Council community, share stories of what's going on, and give you news about everything that is Crown Council membership. So today is December 19th. We're grateful to have you with us. Next week, we won't do a show, but we're planning on doing a show January 2nd. So next week will be the 26th of December, no show. But January 2nd, we will be together. So grateful that you joined us today. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if, let me just navigate real quick to that. I want to talk a little bit about annual event. We are 49 days away from the annual event, which is crazy to think of. We're grateful for everybody that signed up. There actually is still space to attend. We're going to be in Frisco, Texas, which is just outside Dallas. Let me navigate real quick to the 30th annual event webpage. So that should be in everyone's portal. You should be able to see the Crown Council's 30th annual event. One thing I wanted to highlight was hotel reservations. We've tried to connect with each of you and ensure that you have your hotel reservations, because in about a week, the link that we get from the hotel to register will no longer work for the discount and the block that is inside the hotel. So making your annual event hotel reservations can be done right there as you click over to the Frisco Omni Hotel to make a reservation. As you can see, our event dates, our event name. This will no longer work after January 1st. So make your hotel, book your hotel, double check what you've got for reservations, and make sure that you are ready to go when it comes to booking your hotel. Very good. We're also continuing to ask for your RSVP information. I know we've talked about that the last couple weeks, but please make sure that we have your RSVP information, whether it's for the Thursday party, name tags, cell phone for each person attending, shirt size. This is important for us to communicate with your team when you are at the annual event. Let's see, let me highlight just one more thing. On Thursday, we are talking about our golf event, not only in the morning, but also at night. We're receiving a lot of RSVPs for this to reserve your time for Thursday's Top Golf Bash. So if you haven't done so, please reserve that. It's a little extra price per person to join us at Top Golf. And then let's highlight just a little bit more about Thursday. So the check-in experience will begin at 11 a.m. And this truly is an experience. It's not just showing up and getting a name badge. We're going to have a lot of fun opportunities for you to connect with other resource members, other Crown Council team members. As you can see here, games, pictures, mini golf, activities, socializing, prizes, musics, and a lot of our fun annual event swag that we're going to be giving away. So plan time with your team to be together on Thursday at the check-in experience. Look, you can see me right there from last year making Taylor Swift bracelets. Wasn't that fun? We had a lot of fun beading bracelets. That's what I did all day Thursday. So it was kind of a fun night. But we're looking forward to having just as much fun at the check-in experience. We tried to come up with a different name than check-in, and I think this is a good combination, which is the annual event check-in experience. It's certainly not just a check-in. So that's it. All right, we're looking forward to being together for that. Let me just highlight one more thing. In the Premium Member Hub, when you go to your directory as a Crown Council member, there's an incredible library here. And in this library, you'll see all the latest content that we are creating. And we have two fabulous new pieces of content this week. One is this video interview with Brett Tittenser, which we're going to watch a little bit of today, as he talks about being the youngest ever lifetime qualified member in the Crown Council. And then also each week, Steve and I record a brand new skill of the week. So this is a gigantic library that you can be using with your team to train skills and train. Each week is the idea that you can train a skill with your team that you can work on. There's always a challenge and an action plan, things that you'll do and apply to your team after you watch the skill of the week. So this week we talk about combating entropy and what that means, how the laws of the universe here say it always kind of falls into disorganization. So how can you keep that from happening and keeping your patients on track when it comes to scheduling treatment? So hopefully you're taking advantage of all the content that we're posting to the Crown Council website and the Premium Member Hub. All right, I know we've got a guest. Let's make sure I think he's still in the waiting room. We're going to welcome Corey Pinniger with us. Corey is from one of our resource partners. We're grateful to have. I'm going to wait for his audio to connect. What's up?
Stu, how are you, brother?
Welcome to the Crown Council live stream, Corey. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
We're grateful to have you. I can't remember. Have you ever been on the live stream before?
Ooh, maybe years ago. I can't confirm or deny. Full statement from our government,
Okay,
but
very good.
maybe not. It's going to be a great time no matter the case.
I agree. It's kind of a tricky time of year. A lot of we often joke around at the Crown Council office how many phone calls we get per day. I think a lot of offices are already kind of shutting down for the holiday. Not a lot of phone traffic here at the Crown Council annual event, or at the Crown Council office. But we're grateful that you had some time. Grateful to welcome you to be on the show, man.
Thank you.
Hey, so Corey's coming to us from Reach. And I know that from my perspective, if I were to explain Reach and talk to you about them as a resource partner, I would prefer, Corey, you to give us that 3,000 level foot. Would you give us the view of Reach if we were in an elevator together and I was like, "What's up, Corey? What do you do for work?" Will you share real quick what that is?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we help dental practices with virtual assistants in the staffing crisis. We all know that insurances aren't paying out more money, but rent costs more, gloves cost more, Dentrix costs more. And so as a practitioner, you're caught between a rising tide and a ceiling that appears to not be going up. You've got to take home money, and you've also got to increase the wages of your staff. But you also need enough team members to get the stuff done internally without wearing people out. And so we provide cost-effective and reliable labor to help your practice in the areas that you need it.
Nice. Corey, will you talk a little bit about just yourself personally? Like, what have you done for Reach? Like, where do you work now? And maybe a little bit of background on your professional career.
Yeah, so I went to BYU and started as a part-time employee at Weave. And then purchased a portion of Weave's business from them in December of 2016 and have been an entrepreneur in the dental and healthcare space ever since and have no intention of leaving.
Okay, very cool. Nice. And I know we've talked about this before, but we're close, right? I mean, like we are logistically, right? Aren't you in Utah? Yeah.
Yep. I'm in downtown Salt Lake.
Oh, downtown. Perfect. Very good. We should have done this together. We should have done it live together.
I was waiting for the invite. I was sitting by my phone the whole morning saying, I hope he invites me in person.
Okay, shoot. Oh, well, next time. We'll do it next time. All right, very cool. Hey, so I told Corey, it's funny sometimes when we get resource partners on, the reminder where if we have people tuning in and they're watching and they're taking part of their day, I don't want Corey to pitch. Like, I don't want sales. I want Corey and our resource partners to teach, to talk about the things that they see from their perspective that dental offices don't see, right? You are an expert, Corey, in your field. And we love resource partners who share that education, to share the things that you know. So I usually ask for 3 or 4 questions that I can ask. I got 12, which is good. I want to get through all.
We wanted to give you an abundance to choose from.
I say we just do them all. Let's do it. Which I think will guide our conversation here in a way where you're going to educate rather than sell. So let's do it. Let's start in. So my first question: how does a virtual assistant work, and how can they be integrated into a dental practice? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, and I almost want to take a step back.
Okay.
A second to virtual assistants in dentistry is new over the last couple of years. And if you think about it, 20 years ago, you either dialed in on a phone call to join a work meeting, which was difficult to do, or you went to the office. And that's for almost all work out there. And then over time, there became Zoom and Google Meets. And so people began to, run a more displaced workforce. And then in recent years in dentistry, we've seen Weave and Mango Voice and remote access softwares where people can check their schedule from home. And you could have a biller work for you in Destin, Florida, and then he or she may move to Oklahoma, and they can still work for you because of technology. Cool. And so when people typically think of hiring internationally, they think of T-Mobile and Apple because they need that cost efficiency. But I believe now more than ever, that same cost effectiveness is available to dental practices because of technology.
Hmm.
And so where we see dental practices taking advantage of this right now is really in four main buckets. It's
Okay.
getting help on inbound and outbound phone calls. It's getting help with insurance verifications. It's
Mhm.
getting help with revenue cycle management related work, and then other administrative related tasks. And one thing that I want to say is we are not against the physical in front desk staff. That is vital. That builds a real relationship. Where I think a dental practice is often broken, though, is you've got sales at the front desk, you've got customer support at the front desk, you've got billing at the
Yeah.
front desk, and it just leads to this cacophony of tasks that becomes overwhelming. And it takes away from building the relationships with the people checking in and the people checking out. And so, where we want to provide our virtual team members is for practices that could actually take some of this away from the front desk and build a back office. So the phone call gets picked up more reliably, the insurance verifications get done on time, patient statements get followed up with, but the front desk is doing what only they can do, which is building amazing relationships, which is the reason people go to practices.
Yeah, I love that. Because that's like in my mind, I'm like, well, Crown Council focuses on building team, building culture, building people, training teams, and it's like, okay, well, now we're going to talk about a person that is not there, that's not even like part of the team. Can you talk about that for just a minute? Maybe that like that challenge. How do you guys face that challenge when it comes to a virtual assistant who's actually not there? That's a huge part of, I'm sure, Crown Council's questions, like what do offices do or how do they approach that?
Yeah. So the typical model of outsourcing probably falls in the lap of a lot of typical billing companies where you send over a lot of work and then you get the results back. We do not believe in outsourcing that way. We believe that you will hire a dedicated team member for your practice and you're going to interview and decide. And they should join your monthly huddle, your weekly huddle, your daily huddle. And they should be communicating back and forth. They're working the same hours that your team does. Is there difficulty because they're remote and everyone else is in person? Absolutely. But it allows them to be really dialed in on things that are actually not happening in the practice. The thing or things that are almost distracting in the practice sometimes. So they can be focused on those tasks that they own. The one thing that needs to vitally be done by the practice is really integrating them into the team, informing them that a hygienist isn't coming in that day, or a doctor has to take off early, or a insurance is now out of network. And if you can really then integrate them into your culture and team and communicate, they can become such a loyal backbone that relieves that bottleneck pressure at the front.
Dude, awesome. And I mean, forgive my ignorance, Corey, but was the 2020 kind of like um, virtual work change what created this opportunity? I mean, how long has um, this system been as effective and efficient as it is now? Is that
In
kind of like
dentistry,
the launching point for that?
yeah, I'd say right before it is when you started to see technology become available. And there's just been a couple things. There's always been remote access for the last 10 years plus. But the phone technology side and the faxing technology side is new. And it's only continued to get better, where now you can text from anywhere in the world, but
Yeah.
you're texting from the practice phone number. And it's
Right.
only going to continue to get better going forward. So it's not like we've reached our apex. I think we're just on a continual uphill of seeing global technology that is in the power of your hand.
Cool. When you look at offices who've done this well, what are they doing to ensure that virtual assistants are well trained, that are aligned with the needs of the practice? Like, what are if a practice is like, we're going to do it, we're going to take this leap, we need someone. What are the best practices doing to make sure that this is a integrated team member?
Number one, they're intentional about what they do. And this is not, hey, we hired Jonathan and tomorrow we're just going to let him answer all the phone calls. There is work, even if your person understands dentistry, every office is wildly different. How people handle the phone calls, how people handle insurances, those nuances are really important. And then the second thing that just is the amplifier to that is they integrate them into their team and they treat them like their own.
Hmm. I love that. Is there anybody that is doing it really well that you look at and you're like, oh, this practice is kind of the model, the example, and examples of what they do to make sure that virtual person stays connected? Because I mean, that's my biggest concern as a dentist, in my opinion, is how do I make sure this person feels part of the team? Any tips or tricks?
It's the people who are great and the people who run great in-person teams
Hmm.
understand how to integrate a remote team. And then it's just being intentional that the same motions that work in person don't always work remote, but the people who run great in-house cultures and value their individual contributors and value and recognize their team generally integrate these people. And what's so interesting to kind of go back to what we talked about 20 years ago of T-Mobile and Apple were your mega hirers out there. Most people in foreign countries are used to working for enormous corporations, Deloitte, Accenture, so on and so forth. And when you work at 100,000 person company, you're a number, as much as we wouldn't like it to be that way. These team members crave to be a part of a team where they can
Good
make
point.
an impact.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when you can pay them well relative to where they live, and you can treat them as a human being,
Hmm.
they give you some of the best performance out there because these type of opportunities don't exist typically in their country.
That is great advice. Great insight, Corey. Cool. Um, uh, when you are looking at the direct benefits, so as soon as a person is hired, what can the practice expect? So I'm bringing on a virtual assistant. Is there anything that directly takes place, or you see big changes in daily operations when you hire a virtual assistant?
Yeah, so you talked about when we got on today education, and that's the pure goal of what we want to do. There's three areas when you look at the 30,000 foot view where virtual assistants affect practices. Number one, it's they affect the bottom line of the practice. And so if you're feeling that financial strain, a virtual assistant is 1/3 to 1/2 of the typical cost of labor in the United States. And so it can make a big impact there, which can give more money to investing in the practice, to taking home as an owner, and also passing along to raises in your team.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one area. Second thing about that is practices typically, sell for 7x, maybe 5 to 10 on EBITDA. And so when you are, adding 20 to $30,000 a year to your bottom line, well, then you're actually adding 100 to $200,000 in enterprise value when you go to sell your practice.
Ah, great point.
And so
Cool.
there's the immediate impact, there is the enterprise impact. And then the third thing, which I think is the most important, is there are so many duties because of that bottleneck in the front desk that we've talked about that are just not done well. And let's dive into the data there. If
Okay,
you
cool.
look at phone calls in dentistry just last year, 32% of all phone calls made during open hours, not totality, but during open hours for dental practices went unanswered.
Oh, 32?
32%. 56% of all hygiene patients are overdue and unscheduled for their upcoming cleaning.
Okay.
And so there is these treasure troves of golden opportunities because there's limited people in a practice. They're just unable to get to it all in a day.
Okay.
You've usually got one, two, or three people that are handling the business operations in the front, and they're handling 20 tasks. And so, can you add a team member who is cost effective, who can own one of these areas? Well, then you're going to put more patients in the chair and you're going to, again, capture more opportunity that's coming in from phone calls or unscheduled treatment or overdue patients. And so you can have someone who's really dialed in on those gold mines that exist and practices a lot of the time are unaware or don't have the time to really dive into them.
That's great. So, do you have stats for, let's talk about virtual assistant then overall improving the overall productivity. I don't want to put you on the spot, but how do statistics change with a virtual assistant? Do you have those?
Depends where you put them.
Okay.
And so it's so subjective. What we typically see to give kind of a quantitative measure back
Yeah.
is a 10 to 12x on ROI. So if you were to spend $1 investing in a virtual assistant, what are you going to see back in revenue and collections? About $10 to $12 back.
Oh, I was talking about, Corey, I was talking about like phone pickup. Or I guess you're saying that it depends on where you put them, but
Yeah, the problem is like if you had a practice that, we have one practice that has 14 full-time doctors in it. You're going to need 3 or 4 virtual assistants just to begin cutting down on
got
that
it.
call rate. And so it's really hard to give like a
Yeah,
out
yeah.
of the box number.
Okay.
I wish I could.
Just make it up. I'm just kidding. When you were talking about, I guess we talked a little bit about operational costs. Anything else you want to talk about that? Reducing operational costs without compromising service quality. That's a good combination. You hit that a little, but anything else?
I think so when I look at what we do, there's really 3 wins when the job is done correct. The patient should win because, the insurance verifications are properly done before they come in, or their phone calls are picked up, or they're reminded properly about their appointment. The staff should feel less pressure because there's a team truly helping them, and that should drive more revenue and profit for the practice. And so it should be a win for the team member where they have a better, great paying job globally. The patient should get better taken care of. And at the same time, the practice should produce more profit. We've all dealt with a company where they jack up prices or they reduce staff, and it's for the name of profit, but it comes at expense of the team or the customers. What we don't want to do here is drive operational change that then takes away. This should actually amplify the benefit for everyone involved when it's done properly.
Nice. Yeah. That flows into the next question here, which I was really interested in, which is what happens when your sales team gets a doctor who's like, why wouldn't I just spend this money on an in-person, in-office team, right? Like, are the savings and the way that it works for a virtual assistant as an alternative to an in-office team, is it worth it? Can you explain that, what a sales guy on your team would say to a doctor who's kind of putting up that argument?
There's a myriad of different reasons people come to us. So there's the cost savings. I don't think the number one reason people come to us is not the cost savings. It really dives into, I've had a job post up for 3 weeks and I can't find a person.
Hmm.
And I need someone who speaks Spanish and English in my area. Or I've hired 4 people over the last 13 months and I've lost them all. And so they're just tired of the turn and the burn in some of these positions or the inability to get them. Or another option is you can be at an office where you need to expand and you don't have the physical office space.
Hmm.
And then there's some organizations who just, from a budgetary place, know they need to add headcount, but also need to be cost effective in that. But a lot of people come to us, and I hate saying it, but there has been a greater or a less reliable workforce in the United States since and during COVID, where people are more fickle in their job. And the problem is you cannot afford to turn over your front desk every 6 months. There's too much nuance needed. And so our goal is to provide people who are well paid relative to where they live, where they're actually stable and reliable in their positions, because this is a really sought after job. And just to go a little deeper there, like if you looked at our base wage in Brazil, it puts you in the top 25% of earners countrywide.
Wow.
And so we can go out there and get really good people. We took over 10,000 inbound job applications last month. And so this isn't about robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's about getting someone you can pay really well and treat really well. And because of that, they're going to be dedicated and loyal to your team, which practices really want. Yeah. People clinically practice 8 hours a day, and then to walk out and say, so-and-so quit today, or they didn't show up to the job is just exasperating.
Well, and even the idea of taking away from that precious time with patients to find again another new teammate, That is, from our perspective, from Crown Counsel's perspective, that is a constant strain on any dental professional who's managing a team, is finding the people who are in the practice. So very good. Okay, so we got a couple more questions. Beyond the enhanced focus on in-person patient care made possible by virtual assistants handling administrative tasks, What other indirect benefits can practices notice from using virtual assistants? Indirect.
I think the biggest indirect thing that people notice is that the staff is less burned out. It is impossible to have a job where you have to manage 20 significant responsibilities day in and day out. You're on the phone with Delta Dental, patient walks in, and you've got a patient checking out at the exact same time. It's overwhelming. And so can we strip a couple of those things back where the staff can get really dialed in and you see less staff burnout because they feel assisted on the back end?
And when you're talking about like when you talk with a team or you connect with the people inside a practice who has a virtual assistant, can you talk about that team culture from an indirect benefit, meaning in your personal experience with virtual assistants and connecting with teams, how does that indirectly affect the team? Are they or I guess just give advice for what a team can be prepared for if they go down this road?
I really think that the difference between people who are successful and not is, again, mindset and the culture of wanting to accept this person. If you're just looking to throw your papers, your insurance verifications over to someone,
Right.
this isn't for you.
Okay.
But if you're looking to get a reliable, stable part of your team in, and then the second thing is, I think sometimes, and I respect why people initially feel defensiveness of, oh, does this put my job at risk? And we as Reach believe the front desk in person is essential. Like there's certain companies out there who believe you can put a robot with an iPad and you could come in and you could check into your appointment. I go to the dentist because they know my name.
Mm-hmm.
And I trust them to take care of my teeth, and they feel there's a familial feeling to it. We do not believe in stripping that away. We believe in turbocharging the team by giving them behind the scenes support.
Cool. Corey, I'm going to tell a little story. So I'm working with My Social Practice. They're part of our resource partners marketing group, and they're working on an AI tool. So this is an AI tool that talks to patients just right on the website. Well, about a year ago, Crown Counsel developed this chat feature on crowncounsel.com. And everyone on the Crown Counsel team has the app. And if anyone sends a message that's like, hey, Crown Counsel team, I need this, all of our phones ping and we all race. We have like a contest to see who can respond faster. And so My Social Practice is telling me, hey, we can create a virtual assistant. We can take away that from you. But, we work really hard to be present for the Crown Counsel members when they text us. And so we worked out this little agreement with My Social Practice where they're going to do that virtual assistant on the Smiles for Life page because we don't handle questions there. And so it was this argument, I don't know if it was an argument, of as intelligence and technology gets better, are you better than a Crown Counsel team member responding, or is there a time when we shut that AI tool off? Can you talk about that for just a minute as this begins to get better where, hey, I can just pay an AI tool to talk to my patient to schedule treatment and answer questions. Are you seeing the solutions that you're providing and AI complementing each other or conflicting with each other? What do you think?
This is my favorite question to talk about right now because it's a very hot subject in industry. Number one, AI is the future, and we want to embrace that. And ultimately, history generally repeats itself. Instances don't repeat themselves, but history and themes repeats itself. So let's go back to the Industrial Revolution in the United States and just take a very minute example of the sewing machine. The sewing machine did not get rid of seamstresses' jobs. It made them much more efficient and effective. We believe our team members put together with great technology solutions, including AI, are just that much more potent. Because someone could go to your website and say, hey, I just need to confirm my appointment for tomorrow. And the chat's going to say, hey, great, you're confirmed. And that will take 15 seconds. that doesn't need over time a real human. You can get them a more reliable and fast answer, but then someone's going to call in and say, hey, I had an extraction this morning and I'm in deathly pain. You want a real human who has empathy there. And so our goal, again, is I look at our team members together with great technology as steroids. Another quick example of this is you think about Smile Reminder when they came out with the first text message reminder system 20 years ago. The initial fear was this is going to ruin the front desk.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to text our overdue patients. There's going to be no work left. There's still an enormous amount of work left. It just makes us more efficient where we can say, hey, Stu, it's been 3 weeks. Here's your bill to pay and here's a link. All it does is it accelerates the effectiveness and takes away from the mundane. But people go to a dentist not for the robot. People go to the dentist to know a real human can take care of them in their moments of pain. And so it's augmenting those two together where I think you get a great solution. And you can't have one without the other, I think, in the long-term scale.
Great answer. Nice, Corey. I love that. Hey, I've got my next guest coming. I'm going to share your page. Is this the best place? You've got a discovery call. Tell me about connecting with Reach.
Yeah, if people do want to learn more, they can go to our website, which is right there, which is getreach.co. You can shoot me an email. My email is Corey@getreach.co too. But our goal is to help educate practices about the possibilities out there and get wins for their team, get wins for them, and get wins for the patients.
Very cool. Hey, man. Hey, grateful for you. Thankful for all that you're doing to make Crown Council teams better. When I talked to Steve and Greg about this service, and especially my concern, which was, hey, we train live people to be on a team, to build that culture, and to be part of a team that is constantly working on that. It's fun to hear the tips and tricks that make this virtual assistant part of that team, part of the culture that a doctor is trying to build. And it doesn't just have to be a person, who is not there, but we're trying to make them feel part of the team. Like they actually can be part of the team in every way. So I love that.
To make it successful, you have to make them part of the team. And that's what drives then better patient care and relationships.
Cool. Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate the time.
Next time we're going to do it in person. I'm going to have you here.
Thanks, Stu.
Okay, man. Bye. All right. I'm going to just head back real quick to reach.com. So a lot of ways that you can connect here. Go to reach.co. You can demo the request, call them, email them. Reach has been a resource partner for a long time, and we're grateful for all that they've added. But Corey is awesome, kind of revitalized everything that Reach is doing, and we're grateful to have him as part of the solution when docs need help with those things. So very good. Hey, all right. So I'm going to just bring this up real quick. I wanted to have Brett on, but it doesn't look like he's going to join us, which is fine. I wanted him to talk a little bit about the Mentor of the Month recording that we did together. This is a leadership training call that we did. And it was a Mentor of the Month advice from Brett. And I know we put it out on the Crown Council Network this Tuesday. So everybody has it in their library. I just showed it at the beginning of the show. But I wanted to highlight just for a minute some of the things that Brett talks about and what he shares on the live stream. Incredibly smart young doctor, our youngest ever lifetime qualified member, which is awesome. He started his lifetime qualified member requirements as a student and finished them up last year. And became our youngest lifetime qualified member ever. Incredible family history, as his father was a doctor, and began his journey in dentistry on some of our humanitarian trips. So I'm going to start his interview here 28 minutes in. I hope this is the right spot. I got the video queued up. If it's not, I might have to scrub through it a little bit. But hold on. Here we go. Hang with me. It's a live show. Great advice. Can you talk more about now your practice. So I want to dig in a little bit about what you're building now, what's work, challenges that you guys are facing now, um, maybe even what you're most proud of, like things that you guys are doing in your practice now that it's yours. And I don't want to say stuff like, oh, mistakes you've made, but if you could look back on the practice now, is there anything that you'd be doing different? So I know that's a lot of questions. Let's just start with what's working now in your practice? Like, what are you guys doing that makes you special, that draws patients to you?
I am a big, like my team hears all the time, like the patient experience is so important. Like we need to deliver a better experience to our
Nice.
patients than the other guy or than the
Okay.
other office.
Cool. Let's talk about that.
I, okay. One of my biggest pet peeves
Hmm.
is when I go to a medical appointment, let's
Hmm.
say my back's hurting or I have something. First of all, I go, I wait uh, too long, takes a ton of time. I go and I leave without like leaving that office being better than I was when I first came in,
Mm,
right?
right.
I'm sure all of us have had that kind of medical doctor experience. That happens at the dental office. My team knows every single patient that walks into our door, they need to leave better than when they came in. So important. Even like that new patient experience is so important. There's sometimes like, yeah, they come in, they're hurting on a tooth here. You get happy and anxious. You see this like big amalgam you want to replace on the top left. But something I learned from Crown Council is the M&M
Mm,
or what matters most.
that's right.
So important to you got to find out what matters to that patient. And if you can deliver on that, you've won. And so it's so important to get that patient experience. That's why I love technology. Okay, so my practice is completely built around the technology because I am a true believer in that just really good patient experience. They can come into my office in about an hour to an hour and a half's time, leave with a permanent crown in
Right.
one appointment. That is not available in a lot of places. And when they have their chance to compare what office am I going to go to, patients will choose the one with the better experience. They don't
Mm,
have to take off multiple days of work. They don't have to get multiple shots. And um, to me, for the dentist, I don't have to deal with temporaries falling off, or I don't have
mhm.
to deal with a second appointment where they decide to no show their seat, their crown seat, and it just blows up my day. So making sure that the patient experience is exceptional,
Nice.
especially now when you're competing with DSOs, like I'm still a private practice.
Right.
DSOs have advantages to me. They get better rates on supplies. They get, healthcare, like I'm fighting for employee staff. But the thing I know that I can do better is giving our patients a better experience.
Nice. Would you say that's what you're most proud of too about your practice? Is the experience that patients
Um,
have when they come?
I love that. I think we've built a great team. Definitely proud of our team. You've got to love the people. I mean, you don't have to love the people you work with, but you just got to be happy in that environment.
Yeah.
You got to like the people that you work with. It's you're in it through some really hard times. And if there's just a team member that just drags you down, like that can kill a day, it can kill a week, it can kill a whole office culture.
Definitely.
So I'm really proud of the team we built. I'm proud of the dentistry we do. That's important.
Yeah.
I think what I see that discourages that will discourage you more than anything is unhappy patients.
Hmm.
Let's say your dental work is shoddy.
Yeah.
Their crowns are falling off. They are in pain. They're
Right.
struggling. And a lot it does have to do with how good you are.
Mm,
Let's just be honest. You can get better as a dentist. You need to invest that time. You need to go to continuing education. I feel like the better dentist you become, the happier patients are, and that will lead to a happier dentist.
mm.
Uh, hands down, it matters how good you are as a dentist. Be
That's
that
cool.
good dentist.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't often hear that, usually, we focus on, I mean, like you just said, patient experience with the way that they're treated. But if they're coming back and they're like, oh, this is the third time this crown's fallen off, like, I don't care what kind of gift bag you're giving them when
Yeah,
they leave.
how many worn towels you've been through during their 6 appointments, it
Yes.
eventually catches up to like, I'm going to the other guy because they did it right the first time,
Yeah. Great point.
hands down.
Nice. Challenges that you guys are working through, things that when your practice is faced with a challenge, you as the leader, which is something that we focus on as Crown Council, is the doc should be working on leadership. You're the face, the culture driver, the attitude that you set. So when it comes to challenges, how do you and Dr. Mann handle anything that you're working on now, or challenges that you faced in the last couple of years that you're proud of, or that you've worked through, or learned lessons from?
Yeah, first thing I'd say about challenges is you can't ignore them.
Hmm.
They don't just go away on their own. That is the natural thing to do, even with me still. It's just hope they resolve themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But time and time again, I've learned that if there's a problem in in your office, whether it's culture or a system or something in your dental work, like you've got to do something about it. That's what a leader will do, is take on the challenges and recognize them. But then you have a whole team to help you solve it. Like empower your team, give them autonomy
Mm.
to like come up with ideas to make things better. Don't have your team afraid to like speak up and like I love delegating. You have to delegate. If you don't, you're gonna get overwhelmed. I still get overwhelmed as a business owner. It's probably my biggest challenge today is the like work-life balance.
Mm.
There's always something I could be doing on the business, you know?
Yeah, always.
And but at the same time, that's okay. But make sure you're still like happy, still doing the things you love, still spending time with, relationships, family, whatever it is. But I'd say, let me think some challenges. Staff, okay, staff, like I was having a hard time like with HR issues.
Mm.
So I I hired an HR company to help,
Mm.
HR for Health, and they run my payroll. They are a source I can ask any HR questions to, and they have lawyers involved. So I have a resource to turn to, right?
Nice.
So that's helpful. We definitely don't do things perfect. I make mistakes. Own your mistakes.
Mm.
The team will respect you for it, but don't be a pushover. You still got to lead. I like to have conversations. You'll hear things from staff members like, "Hey, so and so's doing this," but then
Mm.
the other one will say the opposite. So never take one person's word for it. Listen first, get the facts, and then come up with a plan to make things better. There's always two sides to every story
Yeah.
when it comes to staff, when it comes to patients, too. I've found there's very few problems that can't be resolved with just good communication. But avoidance and pretending it's going to go away, it just doesn't. You have to talk things through and come up with a plan to make things better. But then sometimes that does mean letting someone go. Don't be afraid of that.
Yeah.
But good communication usually solves most of that.
Great advice. That's awesome. And I'm sure it's learned through experience. So, like you mentioned at the outset, um, it's there are challenges. It is tough. And I would say that team member communication it'll always be there. So learning to be a master communicator is, man, what a great skill. to have, something to always be working on. So great advice. I love that. All right. What's up? We're back. Hey, I'm going to stop it there. I hope you can check the rest of the interview out on crowncouncil.com on the premium member hub. It's also on the basic member hub. So if you are not yet a paying Crown Council member, the basic member hub is also available. So to watch Brett's interview. We're going to wrap a little early today. We've got some meetings with our hotel and our production company for the annual event. So grateful for all those that have joined us this week. We're looking forward to being together at the annual event. Next week, we're going to have a break, and then I'll let you know about January 2nd. But thank you if you're watching this recorded or live. Grateful for each of you and thankful for the Crown Council community. Thanks, everybody.